position on the floor. Memories of convenience. We walk the streets behind those sheets of glass while we rub our veins. Attempt to expose the pain before we end up on the floor. Well, it's only permanent. She gave us life, we're burning in an ashtray in the sky. I fell out of my mother's arms into a permanent fetal position on the floor. It's only permanent in this room to the sun. It's only forever in this sun. Drifting ever closer toward the sun.
Hello. Good evening. Thank you for coming. This is the first full day of I Feel Like Seth Price in 2012, which is our Seth Price concept store. We're selling fashion, music, merch, books, and magazines open during the day. And we have a full program of events. Today we have Satya Paul, who is an artist and writer here in New York. This evening, it's world premiere. Satya is going to be performing a live essay called Does Reading Have a Future? Please give a round of applause to Satya.
All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for Dean. Thank you to Seth, Christopher, and Annika. I'm going to begin with a audio-visual address.
jazz is dead, and the related assertion that trap music is alive, and giving us the equivalent of this is the beautiful ride of the black spirit energy sound, the whole cellulose possessed and animated things flew through the air. My students tell me that Extentacion is not a rapper. They say he just does this thing in the house and puts it on the internet. Someone else says Travis Scott is a rapper, and I'm baffled because Travis Scott sings. Another thing that has happened, merger of rhetorical positions, merger of the singing position of the lover with the speaking position of the polemicist. My students understand something about the coming situation. This nothing, as Agamben works the question of the noun I was reading of Paul, though I'm not equipped to understand. What is happening is partly machine. A rapper is part machine, part apparatus. He is not exactly nothing but a man. My students are 20. When I'm in the room with these 20-year-old women who listen only to rap music, like me now, taken in by it in a way that I wasn't when I was 20. Now that it appears to me as if fully developed language of life, the zone of information conveyed or delivered through the body by untaxed or exhausted master machine, metrohuman and scientist, semi-digital, micro-needed, 808 Mafia, Boy Wonder. The trap music producer exhales a pervasive, diffuse and dilute, sonic, effective atmosphere through the machines. Trap beat making is a methodology of surround, so that we find ourselves.
It's like somebody feed. I treat this shit like nothing. These niggas bluffing, I ain't seen it. I know this nigga I treat this like nothing. I can't believe it, bro. Yo, come from nothing, love. Yo, just talking and ain't believing it, believing it.
A sub-bass drone accompanies words the rapper says, definite sleight of hand with the limited discursive materials and consumable black light, more about which below. This is borrowed from the beat-making repertoire of electronic dances, which thrives on the essence of visualization that occurs with silence developing in vast open space, making contact with bodies that contain bodies invested in turning toward the direction of the sound, catching the wave of bass between them as intimacy, sex, euphoria. To make much or everything of a single ambient tone, to throw it about a cavernous space. Various studies in contrast, noise, and synth overtake or emphasize the fundamentality of the drug. In rap music, the open space of the club is the world space of the music industry, the anti-club, everywhere. In trap music, bass is threatened by the interference or meddling of the machine. Trap music's busyness or chitchiness, the way in which it ticks. I'm talking about now and about the future, about the beautiful and terrible kind of consciousness this new black music surfaces. Speaking of musical togetherness then, even and especially as it's presently trafficked by a constellation of super rappers and producers who are indisputably mighty rock stars. Think about Drake and Future's Diamonds Dancing. Think of Future's extraordinarily prolificity from which trap is an example and symbolical foundation. Think Black People rock stars. Think Hendrix chart domination supergroup. Then think producer tag. Metro Boomin wants some more nigga. Think Homo economicus. Think Jay-Z and Kanye West watch the throne as evidence of the possibility of a Drake and Future tandem. Think about the roots of all these words. Think a realm where there are no women who are not strippers and drug dealers and things like bikes where man swaps with another. Future's covered in money, blase, master for bass, digital dash. Its baseline recalls hardware levels, ironically synchronized with the characteristic fast, quickling hi-hat synth that defines trap beats, propels the sensation of perpetual procurement. Super tracker. Think the ethereal contemporary presence of the words Black Death and Black Lives. That is the back of my mind when reading Black Lives as a dream. This is the sound of Black Life is Black Death, drained of pleasure and presence. Sexual sensual intimacies get violently muted, displaced into mean in everybody's life or future, the vibes, the feels, is it our appreciation of it? Hinges upon that sensual sonic aspect and not the fucked up sad awfulness of it all.
Hey, pay me that lane. Hey, pay me that lane,
Go y'all bad with the 50 on it.
I'm spending a dime on a penny on her.
Too much lane, drinking Fiji water.
Fucking that bitch for my name.
Sipping that lane in a Range Rover.
Ruger pull up with the thing on me.
Call up quick, that's a stain on it.
Bust on my wrist on these chain on me.
Niggas be hot, nigga, they be flame. You worry about a bitch, nigga, hit a stain. You walk around broke, nigga, that's a shame. I pray to Allah, nigga, I hit a stain. I'm fucking your bitch, nigga, that's your man. Took his shit, nigga, he a lame. Homicide boys, nigga, and we stack. These from the beat, nigga, that's a bang. Let the school start selling goop.
2 for the 50, gave him 2.
I ain't had shit, nigga, but a two.
Shit got real, nigga, had to shoot.
Pulling up lean, pull by the shoe. I whip straight drop, nigga, lost two. I ain't taking no L, nigga, I had to shoot. Them 7.62 sounding like a flute. When niggas see me, they salute. I'm ready, fuck with them, something deuce. I'm out that 8, nigga, in the coupe. She pulling on Molly, got the blue. I'm fucking your bitch, nigga, and she true. I'm stepping on necks, nigga, ain't no lose.
Still perking the same, nigga, I'ma lose. I'm catching a body, bitch, clue.
I trap on, but listen, now I trapping that fruit. I'm fucking your bitch and I play with her cooch. I came with that stick and you know I'm gon' shoot. I'm running this rap shit, feel like Bruce.
I just had a show and I had it up cool. These niggas be fake, crazy, they be cool.
I'm fucking that bitch and I had her in jacuzzi. I caught him in person, he thought it was a fool. Go y'all bad with the 50.
I'm spending a dime on pen.
Too much lean, drinking 50.
Fucking that bitch for my name on her.
Sipping that lane in a Range Rover. Ruger pull up with a thing. Call up quick, that's a stain on him. Bust on my rich on these dang on him. Niggas be hot, nigga, they be flame.
You worry about a bitch, nigga, hit a stain. You walk around broke, nigga, that's a shame. I pray to Allah, nigga, I hit a stain.
I'm fucking your bitch, that's your man. I took his shit, he a lame. Homicide boys, nigga, and we stain. She's from the beat, nigga, that's a bang.
I got my niggas with me. I ain't gotta do too much. This ain't everybody, but this and that. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of shit.
I got my name and time to niggas off. How the fuck you think I got my name and time to niggas? How the fuck you think I got my name? How the fuck you think I got my name and time to niggas? How the fuck you think I got my name and time to niggas? How the fuck you think I got my name and time to niggas? Name is niggas off. my name, it's time to fuck around, bitch, I got lit cause I was shooting blocks. Walk 'em down, complete the mission. Yeah, the light. Then I got it switched, so it is not a how the fuck they looking at me. I'm always out, I'll pop out two, Drake, a handgun on, might just fly to Philly, link with Skrilla, what's up with the vibe? Soon as I land, give me a gun, cause he know how we run, we school my little brother, he was taught to shoot, I fuck with bro, I'm disrespectful too, and let's do a Skrilla, tweaking out, I think bro messages, just broski fried as fuck, cause I be geeked up too.
which only further accelerates the feedback loop of memory, writing, rewriting, writing, rewriting. I miss playing games and I miss having secrets. That could be it, a musical term, an ending, a coda. The title card that fades in reading, Finn. The string that formed continues to unravel. It's been tugged into gravity, it unspools itself. And what comes with it? A book of secrets. Must the book be secret too? After Gunu died, Lil Dude was on IG Live talking about secret societies. And you typed out what he said, pausing, unpausing, trying to render the audio as faithfully as possible as text. The spine of language has been shot. Language has been paralyzed. Language had become a body. But what of the games? What of the secrets? Playboy mansions, Playboy Cardi, Homo Ludens, pause. Of course, etymology re-enters. Pause is not la pause, is not la pause, a place in space and time that is not specific. All of the pauses, all the la pauses, all the la pause, all of the infinities. The string has not finished unraveling. Is it unraveling or unspooling? Love is one of the few true secrets, because so little of it can be spoken. Must a secret be spoken of in order for it to cease to be a secret? If a secret becomes forgotten, if it ceases to be memory, does it remain a secret? An ending, a coda, a musical term, an enjambment. Love, what happened to the heart? I find myself confronting this thing, perhaps the ing of this ending. There can be an end, like a dead end, a cul-de-sac, like West End, East End, my ends, your ends. But the thing about these ends, when spatialized, you can turn around, you can circle the cul-de-sac and make your way to another street and find another end. But the temporal end, what happens then? When the timer runs out and reads 0 o'clock, I suppose the timer runs out, but the time keeps going. This ing of this ending is a process, unraveling, unspooling. This ending, this code, this music.
Wondering, do straight them come through, step no shit like who the fuck you give me all that? Raise your voice, kept on to the bomb cap. Pump through bank for me, scum crack. Pump told me shoot first, ask quest, later I'm running money up, I can't stop. Catch on, fuck my, give no passes. Put a bitch on me, think of this cock, she thinking it's my car. Whole time, little bro, them just scratches, bitch out the light. Double 13, low lift Freddy. This on full bench, ass get pound. We beat niggas at 2016, next year 2017, check, pick up Glock. We got low 231, we spent that 247, 4 niggas got popped. I'm steady talking to God, he work with me, but I'm really a that one. My niggas great dick, for real, no Millie D, walk around with Michelle one. My niggas make pain, call it on, but the Glock can't help. Beat neck block off, first nigga I quit, I'ma get out, Dre shells in the ground, Say nobody on the ground, better get out, Craig, we ain't fucking around. Smirk just call my phone and walk the duck on, I'm on moving nigga around it. Blow out, come out the cut, full of nigga up that 300 block, can't dunk. He tryna call in the truck, but he ain't getting over the brutal line off, get ugly. I live Fred, nigga. Michael Drake, but I keep dunking. He keep telling these bitches he do this and that. When we went on the drill, leave vomit. We beat niggas out of their shoes before we put shit on the news. That shit no bop. I'm walking to school, not giving a fuck about shit in the book bag, a big ass scrap. When the rain do straight, them come through, stepping on shit like who the fuck you give me all that? Raise your voice, catch on to the bomb cap. On through bank for I make scum crack. Pop told me shoot first, ask quest, later I'm running money up, I can't stop. Catch on, fuck my, give no passes. Put a bitch on me, think of this conch, she thinking it's my car. Whole time, little bro, them just scratches, bitch out the lot. Double 13, low lift Freddy. This on full bench, ass get pawned. We beat niggas ass 2016, next year 2017, check, pick up Glock. We got low 231, we spent that 247, 4 niggas got popped. Don't live Fred, nigga.
Through the lane and dunk his ass like I went beyond. Pull up on on his block and clapped his ass right out of Civic Honda. Nigga, this I straight. Big program your car with our own key. You want me on your song with 7,000 if you wanna fee. Now I don't play with niggas, I play with bitches, they both the DIE. This Michael Drake too loud, I make this bitch sing just like Joey. Yeah, school game bitch, we got a lot of shooters. I got tails with they titties out just like they work for Hooters. Yeah, I got some Bella Night shit and I got some that's coolers. They say early birds always get the worm, so I'm up with the roosters. They're the same thing bouncing out that ass being it'll do you dirty. Y'all ain't got no defense, we gon' pull up shooting Stephen Curry. Yeah, yo bitch like me, she keep on telling Slick this how she like it. His wounds big as hell, he need a mercy room cause he can't fight it. Oh, I always pack at 10 p.m. I landed at midway. I like Drake's and Glomsky, Melly waiting up on me in that straight. Tryna pull over who, I ain't gon' stop, you know it's time to skate. You know I'm a dog shit, I got young money like Lil Wayne and Drake. It's 3 a.m. up in the rack. Last day I was playing tough as hell, we turned him to a pack. I know she don't like me, she only on my dick just cause I rap. I got all these bodies still ain't cracked, they ain't that shit off back. Aim me your direction and get the swing and the drift from side to side.
She just picked me up and slapped me up.
Better stop right here to drop the package off.
Yeah, really in the sheets, boy, knock it off. And I had my killers pull up and knock you off. I got that 9 with that 30, call me Curry Breeze. 100 round drum on it with a fucking beam. Take the knife off with that bitch, cut him like Wolverine. These pussy niggas soft, they don't want no beat. Watch your circle, wait for the bubble, you know the time, right? Lucky told me stick to the money, stay out the limelight. When you playing in that field, know your mind right. Put a 30 on that bitch to get a 9 height. I done done it tons of 10 in like 9 nights. Dumped off the porch, I forgot what that plan like. 180 days, stay down with your grind like. The only time I cross her, she can show me what I'm on like. I'ma catch the bag, she gon' get freaky for me. Don't talk about that bag if that bitch mediocre. I done took his bitch and turned her to a stuffer. Take 3,000 pills, get him to Kentucky. Fire hot as hell, but we still try. Bitches on pill action. 200 bitch, we got pill. Slowed up, but we still try. I'ma hit the road, I got 2 stuffers. I'm the quarterback, I got a rock. Hey, you this big, you better not fall. Cougar Street, the mob, I'm the head honcho. She sucking through the jeans, she a head hunter. All I care about is the blue hunters. I heard that you be capping your mood nothing. AR 100 rounds, it'll move something. Auntie come up on, said she got blues on me. Nigga think you seen him on the news or something. Had to move the spot, cause you know the blood jumping. Go get the word out, cause you know the ops coming. Cause we not running. Nigga mad cause it stopped fucking. Money real long like my clip, I was drop some. Put that red beam on his face, shit can pop some. Any beat that I got in, I'm not running.
chasing him for like a half a block. I got my mind made up, if he fall, I'ma blow his fucking mind. And they say we some maniacs cause we got victims on almost every side. And Sonny brother clocked off from work just in fucking time.
I got on my shicey and Kersey glasses, but that's just my disguise. And this is my favorite season cause I feel like the murder rate be rising.
They jumped out on quad 4 deep, now gang raping poppin'. We the reason that all these niggas dying, so let me change the topic. And Jason stuck in hell, they say I'm a fool cause I wanna let him out. Cause someone has to die when we jump out or we ain't do it. And Gunna mom keeps trying to get justice for her son, it's okay to demons die.
We can dig this nigga out the fucking dirt so he can repeat the body. The other day he said I'm cool, told him repeat the body. If it was out here trolling, he in jail and he ain't mean nothing by it. We the best killers that's in the fucking city, they said we being bodied. Bro got 5 bodies, but he can't tell he said he go chase out the block and pace my clocks when I'm not even tired. A button to the side and then you dead, but I call it rapid fire. The check and we gon' cash it, that's murder for hire. I think we let it go Baltimore, his face was by the time. Let it go Baltimore, he go Baltimore, he go Baltimore, he go Baltimore, he go Baltimore. Medical, medical, we the medical, murder for hire. I think we need a medical Baltimore, his face was by the time. Cut that shit out. Put that cash on his head, I'm coming to get him. I'm hanging with Reaper, you know she get wicked. I was just in that car trying to tie me a bitch. When you blowing that black guy, top of that pigs, they come in fully. They come in fully, I need shit shake. Every time I go, they block, them niggas be breaking. I'm young and I'm out, they know how I'm coming. I be jamming like shit, but you know I ain't bugging. On feet when that drink get the rolling, it sounding like thunder. They hang around me, you ain't putting on none. I be hanging around killers, they get on your bump. If I call little blow, better get on your bump. If blow ain't one, better blow my gun. You having that cash, put your ass in the trunk. Put more in the killing, I'm turning the young niggas up. I rock for the young niggas, blowing they guns. Ain't speak on them creek, cause them niggas ain't none. All I can say is I'm smoking on blitz. Got laughing at. He got laughing at whip, cause he kept on this. Concrete face, got left on the sport. I'm cut, we really be up in the school. I'm cut, I again that beer every time, ain't doing no straw. Up in that gun, ain't doing no bra. I'm 3 in the morning, his ass got bad. Think cause I'm little, that dish shit sweet. You fuck on his ruler, your ass in the pad. Fuck about your age, my gun a grown man. 5 foot young and I'm told some bitch. We go up the T, try to catch us a quick. You ain't hear about us, we been giving out facelifts. That back in the road and shit, automatic on 2 shit basic. Time on the block, got his gun in my dick. Ain't country my way, I bet you can stop. His ass like he live his ass in the car. His ass ain't even made back to the car. Fuck all that nigga, free double live. Niggas know how we get, niggas know how we rock. Nigga free little Rick, nigga free little top. Nigga free little Rick, he can vouch for this shit. I was born 27, I was praying I ain't missed. He was blowing that Drake shit, going through bricks. Put that cash on his head, I'm coming to get him. I'm hanging with Reaper, you know she get wicked. I was just in that car trying to tie me a bitch. When you blowing that black guy, top of that pigs, they come back fully. They come back fully, I leave shit shake. Every time I go, they block them niggas. When you blowing that black guy, top of that pigs, they come back fully. They come back fully, I leave shit shake. Every time I go, they block them niggas. When you blowing that black guy, top of that pigs, they come back fully. They come back fully, I leave shit shake. Every time I go, they block them niggas be breaking. I'm young and I'm out, they know how I'm coming. I be driving like shit, but you know I ain't bugging. On feet when that drink get the rolling, it sounding like thunder. They hang around me, ain't putting on none. I be hanging around killers, they get on your bump. If I call little blow, better get on your bumper. Kato, this crazy.
Kato, this is crazy. Ooh, you know I'm on shit. I hop out the car with that glizzy in it. I really did shit, gotta keep me a stick. These niggas, they know when they see me, they nick. Almost down me a nigga for been in the mix. Put his ass on the half, he was running his lip. When we go on this move, you better hop out the whip. You don't hop out the whip, then I'm taking your glitch. By law, I really did this, I'm shit. He bunk on this move and his ass that I missed. Had to go up the creek, almost called me a victim. I was on through the gates, they was running and slipping. I'm a real young nigga, I'ma down my bitch. I be jamming like shit, fuck on my mental. That free John B. bruh stuck in the system. My man come home, then you know how we live. I be deep in my feelings, keep digging my feet. I'm stuck on the box, so they think she's sweet. When I get out this bitch, I'ma go up the hunt. I'ma been for a week. Say money ain't nothing, ain't got no gun. If I catch his little ass, leave his ass in the street. Can't forget, you know that I'm coming with creep. They know when they see us, we coming to creep. I just bought me a perk, man, to get in my jazz. I might cut off this bitch if they speaking no feet. I'm a 5-foot killer, don't think shit sweet. I hop out with Drizzy or hop out with Pete. When that shit going off, they don't know what to do. That boy scared of shit almost ran into me. I was fucking out of jamming, she was begging me, please. Niggas don't me know all they ain't need on they D. And he calling me block, niggas know I'm coming. I fought with that ghost and I got me a glizzy on Carter, you know I ain't going for nothing. We going for cars, I ride with a button. Free blow, you know I'm still wearing no disc. Pretty youngins that spending and still getting busy. You fuck with the ops, I'ma look at you different. I be smoking no boy, I can't look at the ceiling. Ooh, you know I'm on shit. I hop out the car with that glizzy and hit. I really did shit, gotta keep me a stick. These niggas, they know when they see me, they nick. Almost down me a nigga for being in the mix. Put his ass on the half, he was running his lip. When we go on this move, you better hop out the whip. You don't hop out the whip, then I'm taking your glitch. By law, I really did this, I'm shit. 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 He buck on his move and his ass that I missed. Had to go up the creek, almost called me a victim. I was all through the gates, they was running and slipping. I'm a real young nigga, I'ma down my bitch. I be jamming like shit, fuck on my mental. That free John B. bruh stuck in the system. My man come home, then you know how we living. We getting in the car.
Cause I'm trapped out. Got paid for a show and bought some work, yeah, cause I'm trapped out. Got paid for a show and bought some work, yeah, cause I'm trapped out. Bitch, I'm on a road to $1 million, I got it made out. If I see a op, then click clack, yeah, I'ma spaz out. She run out of cash, she throw some ass, and then she assed out. If they post the show, then it's a no-show. Chopper hit his face, then he went down Miguel Cotto. All his cash inside the duffel bag, they think I'm printing. OT7 might get some all about the business. We ain't taking pics with these, we playing by my birdie with them. If I tell you what I mean last week, I might embarrass niggas. Pulled up with my fucking mask on, your Jim Carrey with it. Cougar bitch inside the Benz, they think it's how we bury us. This the Louis hat, the new season, yeah, the checkerboard. This like 60 racks inside the bag, I told him check the score. I'm just trying to fuck, don't wanna talk, so we'll be texting. Sweat this last on the bitch, she broke his heart, he learned a lesson for it. You know what I'm at and what I'm on, bitch, I'm a sad boy. My cup dark as fuck, I poured some church, shit look like Jack Boy. Little baby said I fell in love with buying jeans. Give me 60 days, I got some new shit up my sleeve. Nigga try to run, how you gon' run from this beat? This the Dior hoodie, mixed it with the Louis V. I got paid for a show and bought some work, yeah, cause I'm trapped.
Angata!
Okay, you wanna see some macho shit? I'm the most macho nigga out here. I'm the most, I know that niggas new. I'm the most thuggest nigga out. I'm the whole, I have no motherfucking feet. No feet. Only
Bang that shit.
and these niggas used to do it.
The shots start going off, it ain't nowhere to run. You live by the gun, you die by it. All the gangsters know. 2 died, I ain't say shit, man, I just kept it gangster. Jay Woods died, I ain't troll him, I just kept it playing. Niggas be playing on the net like we don't pull us spraying. Like I don't slap fives, but them niggas killed your mans. Bodie hit my pops like I heard Neff got shot. He like, no, he just pulled up to the crib and grabbed the chop. You gotta be a damn fool, you think the violence finna stop. I'm on some kill everybody shit, don't care if you eye. Put your ears to the streets, there's so much that's going on. I told Lando if I catch a beer, just help me get back home. I had to relapse on them perks, I can't believe my nigga gone. We was just blowing woods the other day, I'm still calling his phone. Time to paint the city red, if I was you, I'd stay home. You think you finna slide on me and still live? Probably won't. We forever pay, he still gon' be booming with that cake. I can make it big as Kanye, I'm still gon' have a drink. Yeah. Your shots start going off, it ain't nowhere to run. I'm looking for my nigga, I don't see him. All I hear is gun, trolling boom like he ain't drop dog and drop dog. Niggas think I drop dead, I'm tryna pull up, drop y'all. I had to take my page down, I ain't answering no calls. They said the street shit a bitch, and I just fucked that bitch raw. My nigga dead, got me hearing voices in my head. I've been trying to go to sleep, I close my eyes and I see red. We just got some new apps, that's what I told my nigga Red. We finna put that belt to niggas when you get out, it ain't no plan. Wait till Dame get out the feds, wait till Stone get out the feds, wait till D get out the feds, wait till Cap get out the feds, wait till Moon get out the feds. We gon' paint these niggas red, we gon' paint the city red. Man, all this beef shit gon' be dead. Niggas standing next to bro. How the fuck I ain't get touched if you ain't called in when my nigga died? Then good luck. You might as well don't even speak when you see me. I might clutch. By the time you hear that shit, it's gon' be too late. It's up, niggas. Why the fuck is niggas saying I got shot? Niggas hate the gang so bad they want all of us to die. Fed smacking cribs, I just pray to God they don't hit mine before they lock me up. I just need a couple chances to slide. Why they hate the Godfather? Cause he was always front line. That's my favorite rapper, cause he the reason your brother died. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Sweet, I done fucked 5 hoes a day for the day and making sure I'm clean. She know that I feel shame. Don't know this too, now with my heart, they gon' heal my pain. On top my heart, they love for scarlet. Right now, I ain't gon' change. I don't got support, I hate you coming, cause I'm going through things. She don't like my music or my swag, man, I been going insane. Feel like I'm losing my motion, finna be running right back to my door. I done fucked 2 hoes without no Trojan. I'm so dirty, I'm so long, I won't see. You ain't never once quit on me, how many times you had to get clean? I'ma let you leave right now, life is hating you loving me. I don't give a fuck about too much, I only care about you. You been around me too much, I just wanna be with you. Can you head over to the end? Falling over, I was focused, not again, not again. Can you be the one, help me leave all the hours? Can you help me stop passing my back? Can you help Marcel stop with all these loves? Can you help me tell on this so fucking time? I got held up, Yo, she don't like that, I'm accessible. Now, yeah, pretty, gotta make her get rid of it. This ain't the time, I told you, no. I made you cry, now I feel illiterate. Bitch, I ain't tryna write no songs. Sneak way too damn pretty, I don't wanna call her phone. Start on top right now, I can't, I'm feeling down. I call K3 back in the morning. Damn, I can't see why K3 don't want me. I told you so, now that my blazing, I done came up on some money. Oh, this man, she keep sure why you acting funny. I don't give a fuck about too much, I only care about you. You been around me too much, I just wanna be with you. Can you head on to the end? Lord know how it's focused, not again, not again. Can you be the one help me leave all the hoes? Can you help me stop passing my body around? Can you help my silly stop with all these loves? Can you help me tear down this so fucking town? Young boy, a catalog full of pain, passion, love, hustle, discharge. It's just getting started. It's freedom now. Handcuffs is on.
Ain't nobody around doing like Kane cousin. I spilled the pour inside the whip, I got the scat buzzing. My nigga could've kept hooping, he got a whack jumper. Nigga, still a whack something. My nigga should've kept hooping, he got a whack jumper. 100 shots plus it doesn't chop, that's a block for the bitch. Ain't pulling on my pants, told her stop tugging. He got a shack jumper. He can't shoot a free throw, he can't hit nothing. Nigga, I got the trap jumping. I just made 6 racks off of 6 games. 6 games. Nigga, they ain't no me neither. This the ugly white bitch, I call him on the leash. Nigga, we ain't wrestling, nigga. I got this big Undertaker for you John Cena's dame. Shoot the pistol left hand, call him Tayshawn. Beat a nigga almost death, call him Ray. Them boys can't shoot long distance, call him Ray John. Who broke? Mom just post $250,000 bond. These niggas bleed when they see us. Call them 10 pounds, we know the lead T is wet. Call them alkaline, spilt the pain in the vet. Not a coupe fry, ain't gon' lie, they shot my whip up, then like 2 died.
Thank you. So there's a number of points I want to talk about in relation to the text presented. I think a big part of my thinking on this is there's a Derrida lecture called Ulysses Gramophone, and he's lecturing at a conference of Joyce academics. And naturally, they've all read Joyce, so they have like a very common ground to stand upon as far as what he has to say about what he's been invited to talk about. So in this case, it's a matter, I suppose, of presenting a text to then talk about. I would say kind of a bedrock thinker in the ideas being communicated by this montage is a professor in Western Washington University, Christopher Wise, who is a post-Derridian scholar specifically concerned with linguistic cultures in the Sahel. The Sahel is a region in West Africa, and basically one of his, as well as many other contemporary thinkers on African language and philosophy, map two kind of strains of language after Egypt and the hieroglyphic, one of which is that sort of idea of the ideogram, then moves into the West and is sort of bedrock for Greco-Roman society. You see this in certain words from their words and their etymology. But meanwhile, on the other end, if you move west from Egypt into these various empires of around, like, we can kind of start like 10th, 11th, 12th century, I want to say, is like the Mande dynasty. And all of these things were really passed down through an oral tradition and also had a really strong mingling with Islam once it began to arise. There's the more commonly known griot, which is the sort of like oral townsperson who tells tales and is a very important part to this day of Malian, Burkinabe, and West African societies in general. And they sort of, I feel like fetishized is a fair word to say, as far as like their role in the preservation and carrying on of these oral cultures is extremely important, but also they tend to get a lot of the focus. There's also the marabout, which is a figure in Islam who's kind of the wise person who then trains and passes on Islam in a certain way. And especially in West Africa, it becomes particularly interesting because there isn't printing technology or anything like that, and the procedure for the memorization of the Quran is effacement, in which there's like a surface that sort of the young men, boys of a village are learning on, where they scratch into it in order to write, to memorize. And then once they've committed to memory, they then efface this surface and work onwards and onwards and onwards. And this is how the Quran was passed down in this society. I want to put a specific focus on Mali because a film that was intercut throughout this montage was La Jeunesse, or Genesis, by Cheikh Oumar Sissoko, who's one of the major Malian filmmakers. His background involved sort of original academic training in Mali before then going to France to study film, coming back, and I think there's something really interesting about 20th century African film and how they're applying this sort of modernist language that relates to cinema and montage into their oral traditions. And it's a pretty interesting, I suppose, like jump in writing technologies, moving from, as opposed to most of the West, where you're going to move from linear writing into image-based technologies. and before, well before linear writing, like was oral. Whereas in this case, you're talking about a society in the 20th century that is largely oral, then getting to work with the image, and then in turn, the montage becomes particularly interesting, and I also think the subject matter is pretty interesting as far as Genesis, biblical origin, etc. As far as this overarching question, does reading have a future? I sort of come into it, and there's two big words here to think of, which are reading and future. Reading has a certain relation to writing and how we consider these things. But I suppose what I'm significantly interested in that Christopher Wise brings up in his writing is forms of writing that are not text or inscription based, but are action based, orally based, preserved in that sense. In Egypt, they had this term Heka, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, which was like the god, and there was a certain magical belief in the spoken word and the power behind it. When that moved into the Sahelian cultures, it became Nyama was their word for it. You see variations of it in a variety of West African languages to date. Unfortunately, I can reference that later, but I'm not remembering those. I think in general here, I'm thinking a lot about memory, what one commits, and what one knows without a prosthetic device to use with any sort of dialogue, and like you bring yourself into it, and essentially that. So then it comes into this question again of reading, where you're presented with a text, and I know different people in here, so I know different people will recognize certain quotations in this, whether the quotation is text-based, whether it's a a cappella, whether it's an orchestral composition. But then you have this interesting aspect of language then, of these different quotations coming together, and then how meaning is formed. Ultimately, meaning comes from each and every person, but ultimately it's about this relation between sender and receiver. Moving on to this idea of future then is, I suppose I want to step back, and I'm probably going to do this a little bit of like go in one direction and then come back. But that does reading have a future question is a reference to this Willem Flusser essay called Does Writing Have a Future? In which I think it's like a really narrow question he asks, because does writing have a future specifically has to do with linear writing, and future has to do with the sort of linear Western historiography that he's using, and he's very easily able to be like, no, linear writing does not have a future, we're moving into an image-based society. I'm not really interested in that question, and I think that the idea of the future, when you move outside of this sort of linear Western time frame, gets really interesting. I think you really see that get reflected in the montage of La Jeunesse. But essentially, if we're thinking, there's one major African philosopher, John Mbiti, who I don't want to use to like talk about the entirety of African time and how it functions, because he is, I believe, from Kenya, and it's only going to pertain to a certain region. But there's a certain essential aspect to it in which like the past and the present are created by the action of doing time, and like the notion of futurity gets confused, to say the least. A lot of Christopher Wise's writing is talking about how you run into constant problems attempting to map Platonic logic onto African philosophy, and in turn, ideas are not really going to translate even when you're attempting to talk about them, and it's a pretty tricky task to do so. But that, in addition to the time of the desert, I think are very interesting aspects of um, the notion that time can function in different ways. The next thing I want to kind of start to work through are what some of these quotations are and their relevance to the overarching text as a whole. In the second section, a poet and professor at UPenn, Simone White, is reading from her book, Dear Angel of Death. And I think it's very difficult to find academic writing or treatments on contemporary rap music, just given the sort of place academia exists in, how rapidly changing these things are. And that reading, I want to say, is from 2019 and is kind of directly addressing future Drake, trap music, what that those sorts of beat patterns do. And I think it's a really fascinating treatment of these things that's really well done. What's kind of more interesting to me in a certain way is that she's local to Philadelphia. And I would say this decade especially, Philadelphia as well as DC rappers began to get a lot more traction in their drill music. And in the course of this, I think one of the main things that immediately jumps out is most of these rappers are Muslim, which then really put me in like a different space of thinking of like, how do you categorize these rappers as American or their relation to the West, given that they're X-generation diasporic to Africa, as well as their sort of cosmology that they're believing is like totally different than the Greco-Roman, for the most part, origins of Christianity. And I feel like this was a big thing that was then leading me into, again, Wise's work, but really thinking about the violence being communicated in these songs. I think like one of the most interesting aspects of research that I found out is the Mandate Charter is dated in the 12th or 13th century, and this was again a society in West Africa. And part of this enumeration of essentially like rights and laws, one of them was basically saying like you can kill your enemy, but you don't disrespect them. And I feel like in the like tradition of drill music that has occurred in the last 15 or so years, that's really a mainstay, and it becomes an interesting aspect of these sort of chartered rules in place for a purpose in regions that are characterized by high levels of like essentially numerous tribes or groups fighting for territory and violence that accompanies that. If we move to the beginning and the end, there are two variations on the same track that sample the vocals of EBK Jabo. I think you run into this interesting thing now that I've kind of noticed across all media, in which without like a monoculture type setting device, someone can be like extremely prolific or important in their respective field, and there's minimal crossover into other spaces. I think like the main thing is like, I don't know who plays tennis anymore. It's like Novak Djokovic is like too old. And it's like as the US Open is happening, I'm like totally unaware of like who the players are at this point, which is something that as a child I would have known as far as like Nadal, Federer, these types of things. I think this is important to situate EBK Jabo because I think he's, not even I think on a numbers basis, he's the biggest West Coast rapper right now. But that sort of a thing does not really translate here. I think also in New York, you get a really interesting sense from what you hear coming outside. And like 2019, 2020, even before that, you would hear a significant amount of Brooklyn drill, especially Pop Smoke. Like 2 years later, you'd still definitely hear like some 4-1. You would hear some Bronx drill, these types of things. I think now, and this was a part that I couldn't figure out how to work into the montage, but you have this really interesting aspect of gentrification, essentially, meaning that New York isn't as hotbed of a place for drill to be produced as much as Newark, Irvington, New Jersey, simply just because of migrations, because of socioeconomic status. Coming back to J-Bo, again, biggest West Coast rapper at the moment, currently incarcerated, and has basically been in and out of jail for ever since his teenage life. You kind of have this aspect to him where his entire life is written on the internet in like a pretty open yet tragic way, where his dad, he's from Stockton, California, I think is also important. Similarly, I was saying to like Newark getting this buzz, or like just starting to get this buzz, but also as a result of certain migrations. Stockton really became an important hub in West Coast rap, essentially because of people getting priced out of the Bay Area and out of Los Angeles and settling there. It caused like numerous issues on people moving into different hoods, etc. But J-Bo's dad was also from Stockton and was a rapper, and he got killed in 2014. And then within like a year or two after that, J-Bo was making like very aggressive, essentially like West Coast drill music. It hadn't fully found its form yet, but very shortly after. But the track that I'm sampling is something from his dad's SoundCloud that obviously was from like a different point in his life when he was probably like 10 or so, and the subject matter of the work is very like sweet, innocent, like this sing like, can I put a smile on your face? And then you have this shift that you can totally just read a certain life story through these hyper-violent works that are like now encompass most of his body of work. And if we think of the two visuals for these things, one of them is this documentary about Jacques Derrida that I cut up into split screens to kind of give 2 moments, but also to kind of give those 2 subtitle tracks. A big part of why I find Derrida particularly interesting is he calls himself an African philosopher. He's a Pied Noir, which is a Jew that lived in a French colony, in this case Algiers, and he then has like a really strange relationship to where he's born, again, his lack of a homeland, lack of a true connection to these certain ideals of French in a certain way. There's a certain in-betweenness to it that you kind of see in a lot of the context of the text below. And again, it kind of comes back to this aspect of the detachment where one is born in America and sort of settles into that, but America's a very unique place as far as the bestowing of the American title. And I think there's a significant amount of erasure of how generations of diasporic migration, where they end up after, things get muddled, lost, confused, for lack of better terminology. Essentially on that front and that back end, I think that's a key aspect of something to communicate there. Does anyone have any questions? I guess I don't know. I don't really want to answer questions. I feel like what's like a big part is asking questions. So thank you.
Very good. Something I like about art is that it can kind of make you see the world differently, and it can make the world feel bigger, and it can make everything feel more laden with possibility. So please give a round of applause to Satya Paul. And I have my office hours tomorrow, if anyone wants to speak to me. On Saturday, we have a special 8-hour Seth Price video screening mixtape. I've got the playlist here. It's 3 pages long. At 4:02, it starts at 12 noon exactly. At 4:02 p.m., I think 4:02:47. 4:02:37, we'll be screening Freelance Stenographer. And at 5:38, and we actually don't know how many, but 5:38 and 22 seconds or so, we'll have the latest redistribution. We'll be going from 12 to 8. And then Sunday's the last day, and we have Paige KB delivering a lecture on fashion around 6 p.m. We're probably going to screen End of Evangelion going into that. So that will probably start around 4:35 p.m. Thank you all for coming. We're gonna close out soon, but have another drink. Thanks for coming, and thank you, Satya.